The underlying thread in this course is this concept called value. This thread will go through every single lesson in the course and will tie all of the lessons together. The first lesson in this unit is how to become the world's best pharmacist using the value prescription. The objectives are how to compete in the global marketplace for pharmacist services, how to apply the Pareto principle to value strategy, and how to introduce the relative value theory. But first, let me pick your brains with some foundational questions. Do you know the top 3 skills necessary to be successful in the future as a pharmacist? Are you personally prepared to compete in the global marketplace? Do you have a written personal plan that will provide you with a high probability of success in the future? Is your future built on a solid foundation, or is your future built upon a house of cards? The future is VUCA, which stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Would you like to know the secret to long-term career success in this profession? Well, the skills my parents needed to possess to have a long, productive career have been rendered obsolete. Before, if you had a good job, a good education, and saved some money, you could have a nice life. Now, college degrees provide no guarantee of a job. Employers can no longer guarantee lifetime employment, and virtually no employer offers a real pension anymore. So when it comes to retirement, will you have a big enough nest egg to live on throughout your golden years if you're not the one to take charge of that process? And everyone in the world competes with everyone for everything. We even compete with crooks. The NABP reports over 9,000 bogus pharmacies all selling drugs that aren't even licensed as pharmacists. And just think about this for a moment. Every bit of information that you learned in pharmacy school or will learn in pharmacy school is now available for free on the internet in real time to anyone, anywhere. So why does anyone need you anymore? Well, fortunately, I think that they do. But do you know the secret to making that work? Well, what is this secret that's going to keep you from ending up obsolete? What is this key to financial security? Here it is. When asked, you must be able to answer this following question in 30 seconds or less. So get ready, write down your answer to this question, and when you're done, restart this video and we'll come up with the answer. What can you do for me that is worth what you want me to pay you? Can you answer that question? The only way you're going to be able to answer that question is if you're able to do 3 things. Create value. You have to understand how it's created and how to do it. Market your value. Continually put your value in front of others so that they're willing to buy it from you. And sustain this value over the life of your career. So my mission for this class is to help you learn these 3 things. The world is just not the same place anymore. Old strategies no longer work. The global fact is there are more English speakers outside of England and the United States than are within it. Are you prepared to compete, or will you get left behind? In order to have a long and happy career, you're going to have to re-engineer your value strategy multiple times over the course of your career. Change will happen whether you like it or not. You can either learn to ride the wave and enjoy this change, or you might get crushed by it. So are you ready to launch into this? Let's go. How do you get to be the world's best pharmacist? Here's the question that you need to answer for yourself. Assuming that you're in a group of 100 performers whose talents are normally distributed, remember the normal curve, if you are above average, What is the minimum number of performers that you are better than? Take a second, write down your answer. Now, what did you say? 51? Here's the range of pharmacist behavior, and you can see on the normal curve that the average performers are those people that perform within plus or minus one standard deviation of the center, and we know from statistical theory that that equals 68% of the population. Well, when you look at this, if you're one thing above, if you're more than one standard deviation above normal, you are actually better than 84% of the people to the left. The Pareto principle is the 80-20 rule, which says that 20% of the effort produces 80% of the results. 20% of the employees also generate 80% of the results. If you're not plus one standard deviations above average, you are not in this 20%, and you are not going to be successful in your career. 20% of good employees' efforts also produce 80% of the beneficial results. So even in those 20% of the people that are above average, only 20% of their effort produces 80% of their results. So what does it take to be the best in the world? And, basically what does best mean and who does the defining of best? Consider what the Pareto principle teaches us. You're automatically in the top 16% of all performers if you're more than one standard deviation above normal. You're in the top 4.5% if you're 2 standard deviations above average. To move to 3 standard deviations produces only a marginal increase at a very, very high cost. So would you be energized in your career if you could proudly proclaim that you are in the top 4.5% of people in the world who do what you do? So your question for you individually is, what do you need to be able to do to be 2 standard deviations above average? And what is keeping you from getting what you need to be able to be that person? Well, here's the secret. Secret number 1. Spending your time working on what you are good at more than 20% of your time is going to be important. Spending 8 hours per week doing what you are best at will double your productivity and launch you above 2 standard deviations above normal. The ultimate secret is you don't need to be the best in the world for everybody in everything. You just have to be the best in the world for a targeted market. And this market has to be big enough to pay you what you want to earn. So you have to learn one thing: how to get rich in your niche, the niche that you will be best at. You need to also understand why people buy what they choose to buy, or alternately, why do people hire who they choose to hire? And it comes down to the concept of value. How do you create value in the marketplace? And value is composed of 3 essential elements: the price, the service value, the service component, and the perceived value. And these 3 elements interact using a formula called relative value theory. RVT equals the sum of the price and service component multiplied times the perceived value component. Let me go a little deeper. What goes into price? The price is the cost in time, money, energy, enthusiasm, and effort to buy what it is that you're trying to buy. What goes into service? The service is the warranty, the guarantee, the support, the communication style, the business system, the ease of use that goes into the service or product over and above what the price is. So now, so essentially, what else do I get when I give that price up? What else do I get with my purchase? The perceived value is how bad do I want it? Will it make me feel the way I want to feel about myself? Will I, in fact, want what I get, even if I give up the price and I get the service? Does it accomplish for me what I'm trying to accomplish? Now, that is the only three critical elements that could go into making a purchase decision, making a buy decision, making a hire decision. So essentially, here's what happens. You've got this interaction of these three elements, and this main prism in the middle is perceived value. The perceived value is, how does this product or service meet my emotional, mental, physical, and cultural needs? Has my experience with this product been good? Does this product allow me to project the image I wish to desire? So the cost or price component is, what does it cost in dollars, time, and emotional energy? The service component is, what do I get in addition to the product or service? So as a provider, as a entrepreneur, you craft a price and service strategy to try to impact the perceived value of a product or service so that people will go to the relative value and say, how does this option compare to the other uses of my dollars, time, and energy? Do I have the resources to take action today? Is this value good enough for me to buy this product? So that is the essential interaction of these terms, and those understanding the connectivity of these terms is going to be the root thread that goes through everything that we do in this management course. But most pharmacists miss 80% of the potential opportunities because they forget that there are different stakeholders and that each stakeholder in a business decision has different perceived value of what something is worth. So the first tier stakeholders is the patients and their caregivers, and this is where the bulk of our education focuses. How do you provide care to people, to caregivers? However, there's 4 other arenas in which you can carve out a niche to be a successful professional. Second tier stakeholders such as doctors, nurses, and other professional caregivers also need what we do. You can develop an entire business unit out of providing assistance to doctors, nurses, and other professional caregivers. Also, there's the third tier is the stakeholders who pay the bills. These are the people that pay for the services. You can design a business that would strictly meet their needs. The fourth tier stakeholders are the regulatory agencies. You can actually design a business to provide regulatory assistance to these type of agencies. And the fifth tier stakeholders are the ancillary service providers that feed the other 4 stakeholders with products and services. So the key to being able to build a long-lasting, powerful, professional career is to learn to create additional value for your chosen customer by offering them goods and services that they really want, that they perceive as high value, and that are in their best interests. Applying the relative value theory will allow you the model to make the thousands of decisions that you need to make in order to decide, where do I want to live? What do I want to do? How am I going to craft my offering to the marketplace? How am I going to approach getting hired or starting my own business? So stay tuned. The relative value theory will thread through everything that we do.